Yurok have a legend about a group of people who lived at the top of mountains, and they lived at the top of the mountain, Shasta. They came down off the mountain and they taught the Yurok how to hunt and how to fish and how to build things. And then they taught them how to interact with the animals. And eventually they decided that they were becoming polluted by the lower altitudes. They decided to leave, and so they went back up the mountain and disappeared. Some of them went north into Oregon and disappeared. And then the Yurok had a cataclysmic war with the Klamath, which was bad. But one of them stayed behind, and they called him the deer friend because he could actually communicate with deer, and deer would live in his house. And he had a house, speaking Native Americans, right, that don't build those kinds of structures here. They do up in the Pacific Northwest, but down here they don't. And so, this guy had built a stone house, and so that's the theory I think of what these stones are from. Is they represent they could represent like cities from Mu, because they seem to have come out of Shasta and then moved out from there. Like I said, even they're always in circles, which is a kind of Mu thing. They're always in circles or swirls, and they don't go any further than Fresno. It stops at Fresno. There is a guy though in Malibu that says that he's found megalithic structures in Malibu, faces and things in the walls.
In continuing on with the Mandate Weird War theme, in continuing on with the Mandate Weird War theme, we're thinking a lot and experimenting a lot and kind of investigating a lot. Did you hear that?
Right now, we visited the remnants of the lost continent of Lemuria. This is the city of Mu, or as the locals call it, the Santa Monica Mountains.
My Lord King, who spoke to betray your own people, and even in the eyes of God, you will not relent.
Is this a ruins, antediluvian city from 500,000 years ago? It's possible. Robert Stanley was hiking these mountains, I believe, in the mid-'80s, maybe early '90s, and started recognizing structures out here. A large sphinx over off Conejo Peak, Buddha Head somewhere out here, and he created a trail map so folks could tour the ruins. And I'm down. I think these are ruins. I'm totally.
Yeah. You're in.
I'm in.
100%.
I'm 100% in.
Okay.
This is an evil old ruins place. From the Marvel legacy of Jack Kirby, inspired by the pop culture phenomenon Chariot of the Gods, the Eternals were a race of immortals that had been hiding in plain sight for millennia, dazzling their human counterparts with superpowered displays that earned them the reputation of gods, their stories becoming the mythological tales that animated all civilizations. Meanwhile, the third race of beings to make a claim on the Earth were the Deviants, led by the warlord Crow, also in hiding after losing a war thousands of years before. From the Marvel database, Deviants, Homo descentus. When the Celestials first arrived, they found a species of apes. From that gene pool, they derived two new species, the Eternals and the Deviants. They deliberately destabilized deviant DNA to encourage mutations. The Deviants once worshipped the Celestials as their makers. They saw the Eternals as rivals and warred against them throughout their history. With their higher mutation rate, Deviants evolved faster than humans. Around 18,000 before Common Era, they controlled the whole planet except for Atlantis from their capital on Lemuria. The second host of the Celestials arrived on Earth around 16,000 before Common Era. The Deviants, in the middle of another assault on Atlantis, attacked the Celestial ship. In retaliation, the Celestials bombed Lemuria. At the same time, the Atlanteans opened their magma vents to drive off the Deviants. The bomb destroyed Lemuria, and the shockwaves from it, combined with the open vents, sank Atlantis. This great cataclysm reshaped the Earth's surface. just visited the Jack Kirby Museum at CSU. We're here at Fry's. We thought we should stop here because there's a giant spaceship crashed into the front of this building. Anyhow, the Kirby exhibit was really amazing. I expected no less. Throughout Kirby's works, you get this giant cosmic war constantly between different factions, whether it be Asgardians or the New Gods versus those of Apocalypse. The leader of Apocalypse was Darkseid. Leader of the New Gods, or at least their protagonist, their hero, was Orion, and Orion figures prominently into the Sirius-Orion battle that Jim Brandon outlines. This tendency that Sirius represents this force that's trying to advance mankind. On the flip side, Orion, Orion holding mankind back, possibly even plotting to destroy mankind somehow. So it's weird how Kirby turned that on its head. Maybe he just didn't have all the pieces. One of his last projects was a book called Silver Star, and I might be wrong, but Crowley's order was the Order of the Silver Star. His order of hardcore Thelemites. They honored, if not worshipped, Sirius, the brightest star in the sky.
Well known for its hippie culture, as well as just its laid-back vibe in general. In the 60s and 70s, that's where a lot of the musicians were hiding out and living and partying. Very much hidden, tree houses everywhere. Kind of looks like Hawaii and the desert put together. Supposedly there's a base in Topanga Canyon hidden underneath the mountains. There's a couple different rumors in terms of where it's actually located, but whenever I'm driving through the canyon, someone that's driving with me will always be like, this is where the UFOs are, or I saw a UFO right here. There's Topanga UFO sightings in Topanga all the time, so every single Topanga resident has a story about seeing an alien, seeing lights, being abducted, or being followed by lights while they're driving home through the canyon.
Yeah, I was driving in the fog, and I was with a friend, and we saw this like bright blinking light, and we're like, oh my! And it was like 4 or 5. No, it was light out, so it was like 5:36 in the morning.
Yeah.
But we just see this orange like flashing. We're like, oh my God, what's that? And we was like, should we turn around? Well, let's see. We came around a corner, and it was the sign for the bar. You know what's weird about Topanga Canyon? I lived there for 5 years, and the flap happened the month after I moved out. People said things were flying up the canyon and like hovering in the canyon, and people saw these from the road late at night, strange things crossing the road at night, scaring people, stuff going on in the state park up there. But a lot of people had a lot of weird experiences up there over a long period of time. It's just that they intensified right after I moved out. I never experienced any of that stuff. Sometimes I get this feeling the stuff just ignores me, or I ignore it, which is unfortunate. I mean, I'm open to it, but I've never really had any really strange sightings of anything.
And what is this behind us right here?
Yeah, all right, so I'll give you, this is kind of scary. It's like a big turtle head overlooking us where we're going. And also, if I want to make myself feel a little bit better, it looks like a bullet hole, right? I mean, so a couple things like that. So we can get the PG version of the big, scary, giant turtle skull is a bullet hole.
We're being photobombed by a
We are.
tremendous skull.
We are.
You're a little to this way. See the skull.
And I'll also bring up, great band, Hawkwind. The dude who does the lyrics for them is Michael Moorcock. Michael Moorcock's fantastic contribution to literature is the Elric Saga. Elric is from Melnibone, which he, I hope I pronounced that right. And the Melnibonians, his people, are these willowy black sorcerers. He's an anti-hero. He destroys his own people, basically. I don't know if the place sinks, but I get that mood that like that's what the Lemurians were. They were like this race of evil sorcerers, probably willowy, like a lot of the Los Angeles folk you see around here. These artist types, and you don't know about their creepy backgrounds. No offense, Caitlan. I don't know what's going on over here.
The West Coast has like a very spiritual vibe to it. So even when you're standing here, there's always this feeling that there's something else going on. I'm very in tune with different dimensions kind of always coinciding with each other, and you tend to feel that a lot more here. Part of that is because we're in the nature so easily in Los Angeles. You can very easily get out of downtown and be in the mountains and be around weird lights that you don't understand. So if I were to know that there was some sort of alien site or some sort of government hidden site, my answer would be I'm not surprised by any means, and we should probably leave soon before they come after us.
Yeah. If you read histories of Southern California or even California, the entire population, it might be changing now, but for the entire history, the majority of the population comes from outside the state, not counting Native American. But since people have been moving in, since the Spaniards came, it's all been people from outside of the state moving here. You know, it is the place where everybody went to get away from other stuff. Well, they came too here for the gold rush, but a lot of people came here to get away from the thing that was bothering them or the thing that they couldn't do or whatever. The Mormons stopped in Utah, but everybody else kept coming out here. And you know, a lot of that started in San Francisco. There's a lot of history of Southern California people don't know, with a lot of outsider influence, a lot of very strange things going on here from the very beginning. It might be a recursive thing between the people and the environment. Is it, you know, are the people receptive? Is it ready to start freaking out? Then maybe it starts going. And I think that's more of a very localized phenomenon, like you said. I mean, that's why UFO flaps happen. That's why Bigfoot's seen a lot in one place for a while. I think people say it's flaps, that something opens up, a doorway or something opens up. I think the receptive part has to be there too. If a doorway opens up and nobody cares, you know, can you hear the tree fall in the forest? If there's nobody there to be receptive, and they're not receptive, I don't think that the flap happens. I think it's maybe a few people started, and then it just starts building on itself.
So let's get this straight though then. So as part of the weird war, see how that works? The weird war between the Atlanteans and the Lemurians, both end up sinking?
Yeah, I mean that's how it went down. Okay. Apparently, I mean, who knows? Maybe the Atlantis sinking was unrelated. I mean, I'm not gonna
climate change way back then.
Stake us on any of this. Yeah, it could have. Yeah, maybe the Earth just hated these two continents. So might hate us now. I mean, there's drought, super blood moons.
Yeah.
You know what's going on? Iridescent clouds in the skies above. Is this the end of the world? Is tonight it? Do we get taken out by a giant comet strike, or the pyrotechnics of the ACDC show, which we're going to see at Dodger Stadium?
Absolutely.
That's right.
So I was asking Caitlan why the freeways out here, because again, they're not highways like we have out in the east. They are freeways here. Why they all have the article "the" in front of them? The 101, the 10, the 405, the 666.
The 666, I like that one. They're definitely freeways and not highways, and it's because they're an entity of their own. You're putting your life at risk when you get on these freeways. They're definitely not the same as driving from Boston to Providence or something like that. I mean, how many 5-lane highways?
Yeah, all right, that's fair.
So
this is big enough to be essentially considered its own.
It's a noun.
Yeah, all right. It's like its own town. It's like a city unto itself.
Yeah.
Right,
there's different rules. What's that guy who has the tattoos all over his face? This is a good story.
Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson. So there was a motorcycle accident on the freeway. I think it was the 101. And Mike Tyson saw it happen, pulled over on the side of the road, and saved this guy's life.
That's
and
awesome.
Took him to the hospital. Literally picked him up and carried him.
Wow.
And the dude woke up to Mike Tyson carrying him to the hospital.
Now that's a sight everyone wants to wake up to. Nurse Tyson.
Yeah, Nurse Tyson. And he stayed at the hospital with him.
Wow. That's
for a couple days, I think.
Wow, redemption.
Visiting him.
He's working on redemption, I think.
He's like David Carradine. He's walking the earth.
But let's be honest here. That's somebody's version of heaven.
Yeah, that's someone's angel.
Right? Did I die? Mike Tyson is holding me in
Well, it
his
must
arms.
be his version of heaven now. So.